Today we're going to be looking at the automation of a powder metal press plan using 3 Siemens PLCs and 1 HMI. Top right we have PLC 1, which controls our run and our e-stop bits. Bottom left controls the mixing of our material and the formation of our parts. And then bottom right controls the sintering oven as well as the packaging of the part. So to begin with, we're going to hit automatic. We're going to make the batch size 10 by clicking on the screen and selecting 10. Once 10 is selected, we're going to click enter and we're going to click on. Once we click on our HMI, then all the start bits on the 3 PLCs will activate. Bottom left is where we're going to go first. So our valve 1 is open, which putting stuff in the mixing tank. Valve 2 open, which also puts stuff in the mixing tank. Once the mixing tank is mixed for a certain amount of time, then it's going to deactivate the motor, going to open up the mixing tank valve, and then release that to the scraper to make parts. Once that mixing tank is empty, then we're going to go back, we're going to close off the valve and reset and stop the scraper. So looking at bottom right, we have 3 conveyors that were started and warmed up the sintering oven as well when we first started on. And during this process, we're going to be taking a look at the parts primarily and making sure that they're all right, pressing them, and then packaging them. So camera 2 is right before the sintering oven. It just activated the procs. We're going to make sure the part's okay. We're going to continue. Now we're going to place the part into the press using a piston. Once after a certain amount of time, make sure it's in there right. It's going to activate so we can press it, and then it's going to reject the part so that sensor is no longer activated underneath the press, and it's going to move on to be packaged. At camera 3, we're going to double check and make sure that part, after it's been pressed or coined, is all right. Once we do that, then we'll move on to the packaging part of it. So part's okay. We're now going to package it, and if you look on the top left, the HMI shows 1 product has been established. Now, for time's sake, we're just going to show you we're going to assume 10 parts have been made. More than 10 parts, actually. We're going to assume about 16 in this example. And we're going to show you the product number and our HMI increase as parts are being packaged by the robot. And as we're going along and the parts are being checked by the cameras, we may have a few reject parts as mentioned earlier. So how that's going to look like is we have 3 cameras, again, one after it's been pressed, one before the sintering oven, and the one after it's coined. And if any of those see a bad part, then they'll be rejected by the reject piston, which we'll see right now by looking at the bottom left screen. So camera 1 sees a bad part, it's going to reject the part. Top left shows our reject part increased. It's going to happen 3 times in this case, showing that 3 parts weren't pressed properly and were rejected this way. Now on the bottom right, we're going to look at camera 2. Camera 2 is going to see a bad part, and our reject is going to go up twice. And then camera 3 also, if that sees a bad part, again, bottom right, it'll add to our reject number. Now, once 10 products have been packaged, our run bits will stop. And the only way to reset this and to keep going, assuming we still have material to make, we have to reset the counters using PLC 1 in the top right corner. And that's the end of the automatic part of this process. Now we're going to take a look at what happens if we want to run manually. So to do that, we're going to hit manual on the HMI, and we're going to hit on. Once we hit on and we hold on, then all the run bits will turn on the PLCs. Once we release it, then all that will turn off. And that is how the manual works. Now we're going to take a look at our e-stops. Now for time's sake, we've already shown in this video what happens when our run bit goes off. All the other bits and the other PLCs turn off. So we're just going to show PLC 1 in the HMI. Now as we look at it, when we hit the e-stop, again, the run bits goes off. And it's going to flash to say, hey, the e-stop on the HMI has been pushed. And if we click it again on the HMI, that'll go off and we'll continue running through our process. Now you just saw the e-stop dispensing button switch being pressed, as well as on the HMI there was a red flash to the right of it. Now that is showing the e-stop being pressed at a certain spot. So we just saw the centering being pressed. Now we're going to see the coining being pressed. And so basically what happens is on the HMI it shows you which e-stop was activated, and then on the if you look on the PLC on the light box, you notice that every process before it was deactivated. The reason for that is we want to continue, for example, if the centering of an e-stop was pressed, but we still have parts being pushed out to being coined and packaged, we still want to run those processes. We don't want to run a jam or cause any other issues, so we're going to keep running our system. And now again, we're showing the light curtains be activated. Again, if the packaging curtain is activated, it's going to stop every other process before that. And that is how our e-stops work. Thank you very much for watching this video, and have a great day.